David had always believed that the best kind of neighbor was the quiet one. For years, his life in Willow Creek had been calm and ordinary. His mornings followed the same ritual. Wake up early, brew a pot of coffee, and sit on the porch as the sun rose. The air smelled fresh, the birds sang, and the street remained still except for the occasional jogger. Every Tuesday, he followed another routine, rolling his trash can neatly to the curb. It was never overstuffed, never out of place, and never late. His father had always told him, "The little things you do with consistency show the kind of man you are." And David lived by that, at least until the day someone decided to turn even a simple trash can into a battleground. That Tuesday evening, David returned from work carrying groceries. But before he could even step inside, he noticed something odd. His trash can was lying on its side, halfway down the street, as if it had been shoved. Bags were torn open, spilling. Coffee filters, cereal boxes, and old newspapers across his lawn. He froze, scanning the area. No other trash cans were tipped over. Only his. With a heavy sigh, he set the groceries down and began picking up the mess. "Must have been an animal, or maybe the wind," he muttered, though the thought didn't convince even himself. But in the back of his mind, a seed of suspicion was planted. The following week, it happened again, and again. By the fourth Tuesday, David was no longer uncertain. It wasn't an accident. He began to notice details. The trash can always toppled over in the morning, never in the middle of the night. And, curiously, it always seemed to happen right after one specific person passed his house. Karen. Karen wasn't just a neighbor. She was the HOA board member, strict, sharp-eyed, and always patrolling the neighborhood as if it were her personal kingdom. She had complained about holiday lights being too bright, children being too noisy, and even a neighbor's garden hose being left out too long. Now, it seemed, she had chosen David's trash can as her latest target. The next Tuesday, David prepared differently. Instead of leaving for work right away, he lingered on the porch, coffee mug in hand, pretending to read the paper. Sure enough, at exactly 7:15, Karen appeared in her purple tracksuit, dog-trotting, by her side. She glanced at David's trash can, pursed her lips, and gave it a sharp push with her hand. The bin toppled dramatically, spilling against the curb. David stood. "Karen," he called, voice firm but polite. She flinched, caught in the act, then quickly straightened up. "Oh, good morning, David." "Why, are you knocking over my trash?" he asked calmly. Karen scoffed. "Your can is an eyesore. It sticks out, ruins the street's image. I'm doing the neighborhood a favor by teaching you how to keep things tidy." David's jaw tightened. "The can is placed exactly where the city requires, by the curb, on pickup day." She crossed her arms. "Well, maybe the city doesn't care about appearances, but I do. And as an HOA board member, it's my responsibility to uphold standards." With that, she tugged her dog's leash and walked off, leaving David fuming silently. By now, others had begun noticing, too. His next-door neighbor, Linda, leaned over the fence one evening. "I saw her this morning," Linda whispered. "She kicked it over on purpose." Another neighbor, Frank, shook his head. "She's been a nightmare for years. She once wrote me up because my grass was half an inch too long. Don't let her get to you." But it wasn't that simple. For David, it wasn't just about a trash can anymore. It was about respect, about being singled out unfairly, and most of all, it was about not letting someone else control his peace. By now, others had begun noticing too. His next-door neighbor, Linda, leaned over the fence one evening. "I saw her this morning," Linda whispered. "She kicked it over on purpose." Another neighbor, Frank, shook his head. "She's been a nightmare for years. She once wrote me up because my grass was half an inch too long. Don't let her get to you." But it wasn't that simple. For David, it wasn't just about a trash can anymore. It was about respect, about being singled out unfairly. And most of all, it was about not letting someone else control his peace. Tuesday morning, Karen appeared as predictable as sunrise. She eyed the bin, narrowed her eyes, and pushed. The can tipped sideways dramatically, then bounced right back upright, standing tall. Karen froze. She blinked, frowned, and shoved it. Again. Same result. The can wobbled like a toy and sprang upright as if mocking her. Her face turned red. "What in the world?" she muttered, giving it one last furious push. Still, it refused to stay down. By now, several neighbors had stepped outside, drawn by the commotion. Linda leaned on her fence, smirking. Frank chuckled from his driveway. Someone even pulled out their phone to record. "Is she seriously fighting a trash can?" One neighbor whispered. Karen's cheeks burned. She spun around and snapped. "This isn't funny! His trash can is out of compliance!" But no one sided with her. Instead, laughter rippled down the street. The more she argued, the more foolish she looked. Finally humiliated, she yanked her dog's leash and stormed off, refusing to look anyone in the eye. From that day on, Karen never touched David's trash can again. In fact, she avoided his side of the street entirely. The story of the self-righting trash can became neighborhood legend. Neighbors who had once been afraid of Karen now felt emboldened. They smiled more, they stood a little taller, and they thanked David for proving that bullies could be defeated, not with shouting, not with anger, but with cleverness. David went back to his peaceful routines, coffee in hand, trash, Ken standing proudly at the curb, and every Tuesday morning as the garbage truck rolled by, he couldn't help but smile.